All right, we will get started. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on Microsoft Planner. We're going to go through a little bit about what Planner is, and we're going to talk a little bit about how to use Planner. We're going to do a live demonstration. We're actually going to create a plan, and throughout you may have some questions, so feel free to ask those questions through the chat window. I'm actually going to mute everybody just so that things flow a little bit better that way. And at the end, we'll be able to unmute and you can ask questions through chat or through your voice. And at the end, you're going to receive a brief survey and the presentation slides. And somehow we're making the video available, but I don't know how we're doing that yet. So we'll sort that out and make that available to you. That's me up in the corner. So for those of you that never met me, hello and welcome. My name is Jeremy. So a little bit just a background on Office 365 if you've never used Office 365 or you have it but you're not quite sure what it's all about. It is a monthly subscription service from Microsoft. They have different tiers that include different offerings. So there are certain tiers of Office 365 that do include Microsoft Planner, like Business Premium, Business, some of the E1 or E2, E3 levels. There are some if you have like email only or Microsoft Office only tiers that may or may not include that, so you have to check. And Microsoft is always kind of changing those up, which is nice in some cases, especially when they're adding it as a new feature to your subscription. Microsoft Office 365 is a cloud solution, meaning Microsoft hosts and manages the applications and data on their servers. They have a 99.9% uptime guarantee, and you can count on Tobin Solutions for help with migration, administration, training, support, integration, and development. One of the things I want to point out in this demonstration, as well as any demonstrations, because we do other webinars on Office 365 products, is your experience really is going to vary as you go through and use that. And part of what varies is how you're accessing the technology. So if you're accessing it through a web browser, it may be one type of experience. If you're accessing it through a desktop application or from your smartphone or your iPad or your Android tablet, all of that kind of determines exactly what features you're going to have in what place and how it's going to look. So what I'm doing right now is I am running this from my desktop, so you'll see that experience through the Chrome browser. So a little bit about Microsoft Planner. There's a lot of different ways to look at this. It's kind of like task management for teams. Some might call it light project management. It could be some light collaboration. There's a lot of different ways to look at it, and it depends on how you're going to use it. We've started to use it here at Tobin Solutions for a few small projects. Part of it to learn how it operates, and so we understand how these things work so we can support them for you. But we also look and see if it's going to be a good fit. And so for certain products, things we're working on internally, like doing some of our website work for our own website, we've been using Microsoft Planner for that. So once you're in there, you can assign tasks, you can share files, you can chat about what you're working on, and then get updates on progress overall. And I'll come into that a little bit more as we do the live demonstration. So when you're in Planner, you'll be able to create a plan, and a plan consists of tasks. And tasks are sorted into buckets, and this will be a little clearer when we actually do the demonstration. And then you can assign people to those tasks with due dates. You can set up email notifications so they know when they've been assigned to something, so that they know when something's overdue. And then they have charts that will show you where people are with their projects and with their plans and where they are with tasks, what's left to do, where things are at, so you can get some basic overview management of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump right into the demo, and I'm going to switch my screen here. So Microsoft Planner, a lot of you may be used to like Microsoft Word and Excel on your desktop, and Microsoft Planner does not have a desktop component. It is strictly from the web, and it's also from your apps on your phone and tablets. So right now there is no desktop component. So you go to office.com, you sign in with your credentials, and you will go into the default screen where you can see the different apps made available to you through Office 365, including Planner. And if you don't see Planner here, I have it because it knew I was in it recently, you would click your Explore All Apps, and you can go down and see all the different apps that you get with your Office 365 subscription. Okay. So, yeah, and you should have it by default. So if you have the right type of subscription, by default, it is available for you. If you don't see it, if for some reason it may be that you don't have the correct subscription, or it's possible that your system administrator has made it unavailable to you, and so you could ask them if that's something that they would make available to you. So I'm going to click on Planner, and again, it just opens up a new tab in my browser. And it's reminding me that there's an app that I can put in for iPhone and Android, which is nice. So you can take your plans mobile with you. What you get is, here's the basic interface. So what you're going to see is the Planner Hub. So that's going to be all the plans that you're a part of. So if there's plans that you're in, you'll see them listed here in the hub. Here's one sample plan that's here. If you had other ones, you would see them there. If you had other plans that were not part of your the ones that you work with quite frequently, you can make them a favorite. If you have the different tasks across your plans, you'll have that here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to start off by creating a new plan, and for purposes of this project, we're going to create a customer appreciation event. Okay. Now when you create the event, or the planner, the plan, you can select what privacy level. So by default, it's private, meaning only members that you add can see the contents of it. So that would be great if you have a project or plan that is just meant for a few people. If it's something for your whole company, then you would say it's public, and then you'd be able to have that there, and everyone in your company would be able to go in and see that plan and have access to it. The permissions are not that granular, so at this point you sort of either have access to it or you don't. There's not a lot of ways of controlling access to individual tasks and elements within the plan. Down at the options here, you can also add some additional information. So if people know what this is, party for our favorite and best customers. And I go ahead and say create plan, and it's going to do its little thing for a minute here while it's creating the plan. And when it's done, you can see it created customer appreciation party plan. It says it's private, and it gave it its own little icon here called CA. Grab that from the customer appreciation piece. Okay. And right from there, you can start to create your tasks right from within the plan. Now, one thing I want to point out, and this is an important piece, is Planner works really well hand in hand with Microsoft Outlook. So one of the features that you may or may not be aware of with Office 365 is this concept of groups. And groups are just groups of people in your organization. And those groups get created behind the scenes for your use in different ways. So since I am part of this customer appreciation party plan, if I open up Outlook, and I'm just going to use the web-based version of Outlook, you should see whoa. You can now see under groups, it created this customer app group. And when I click on that, it says, welcome to the Customer Appreciation Party Group. And groups are a special thing within Outlook, and we could do a whole other demonstration on and webinar on that. But basically, a group has its own mailbox and its own calendar and kind of stores all the information together. So if you create a plan in Planner, it's going to automatically create a group for you. And likewise, if you create a group in Outlook, it's going to automatically create a plan for you that'll show up under the plans. So they work hand in hand. So with the planner, let's start to actually create a plan. So what we're going to do is, like I said, this is a customer appreciation event. And so what are some things we're going to need to do? I think, first we want to have, I'm going to click on the plus sign. I think the first thing we need to do is we need to select a date for our party. Okay, that would be a task that we need to do. We may also need to select a venue, because it may or may not be at our office. And we need to create the team, so who's actually going to be on the team. So I just created a few tasks, and right now this is under what's called a bucket called To Do. And we're going to talk a little bit more about buckets as we go forward. You can rename these buckets, and buckets are basically lists of tasks. So if I open up this Create the Team, you'll see it's in the To Do bucket. Its progress is not started. It doesn't have a start date or a due date here, and there's no description. So I can start to put that together and say, okay, when do I want to get this done by? Let's say I want to pick our plan by Friday, and I'm going to say who will be part of the team to create this great party. Now you can see this changed a little bit. So now it's got the due date in there, and you can see it says create the team, and it's got our description. So you can just click on it and it'll take you right in. Okay? And then you can do the same thing for some of the other systems here. So you're like creating a venue, where will we have this? Give it a due date. And let's figure out that first. All right, and you can move these around if you want by dragging and dropping them. So, maybe you start with who's going to be on the team, and then they need to pick a date, and then pick where it's going to go. So those might be some very basic to-do items that are in there. And what's neat about that is you can do a few other things with these tasks. So if I open that up, it's got this comments section. So actually, wait, no, let me jump in here. Go back a little bit on here, and I want to go into the plan settings and show a few things there. So one thing you can do is you can rename this. So we've got Customer Appreciation Party. We can rename that if we want. The group email settings, this is one of the ways that Planner notifies people is it sends emails back and forth to let you know when things are happening. So you can turn that on or off for the group. And if you want to follow the plan in your own inbox where those emails are going back and forth, you can do that. If I want to go in and add people in the group, I can go in and add additional people. And if I want to delete the plan when I'm all done, I can do that too. Okay, but right now I'm going to be the only member of this group. It'll be just me. So if I want to assign it to somebody, I can assign it to me. I'm running as a user called Tobin Demo, which is very clever. And you'll see we've got that in here. And now you can see under the task, under the team, it's got Tobin Demo. And if you added other users as part of that, you would then see them listed there. Okay. And if I was chatting with those people, I could actually say, you know, who wants to be the head of the committee? Put something in like that and say send. And now what you're seeing here is, if you notice on the bottom, you're going to start to see these comments go back and forth. So the comments are actually attached to the tasks, which is nice because you can just jump into the task and actually see what's happening with that. And if I go into the group mail, I should see some back and forth around that. So you can see when I did that comment, it actually put that into this group mailbox. And what's nice about this is, you know, if you've got people that are really heavy Outlook users and they don't want to go into the planner and they just want to see what's happening back and forth, they can actually just do it from within Outlook. So they don't necessarily have to go to the web application to do that. But if I want to reply to here and say, you know, put that in and say, pick me, I can reply within that, and when I go back into here, it should be updated. There it says, pick me. So you can enter information in both places depending on who your users are and where they're at. Okay. So we have these dates, and we've got the basic tasks, and you can start to see how you could build out a nice little plan of tasks by assigning people, picking the dates, and having communication about what's actually going to happen there. But, you know, if it was a real simple plan, this may make sense. You know, there might just be a couple of things here, but I think, you know, we're going to have a pretty big party here. There's going to be a few things, so let's create a new bucket and actually start to put some different tasks in those buckets. So I'm going to say add new bucket, and I'm going to say invite customers. So it created a new bucket called invite customers. And so what are some things we might want to do on here? We might need to create an invitation. We might need to get the customer list. We might need to order invitations. We might need to mail them out. So we're going to do old school invitations in the mail. Okay. So within this bucket, now under invite customers, you can see I now have additional tasks in here, and I can put these in the order that I need to put them in. So maybe it's going to be up here, create that invitation, we're going to order them, we're going to get our customer list, and we're going to mail them out. So handy, right? You can sit there and you can start to see how you can create these different buckets. And if I had something in the wrong bucket, I can actually drag and drop between buckets. Now, you have these big tasks, and that's great, right? We've got create an invitation. Sometimes, you know, you have a task that has additional tasks under it. So one of the things that's nice with like this create an invitation, for example, I can say create a little checklist under here. So we can say hire graphic designer, because maybe I want to have a really nice fancy invitation. I'm in the wrong, yep, create an invitation. Might be select a printer. And it might be get final approval from the CEO on what's going to go out. So now you can see how this task changed a little bit. Now it says there's 0 of 3 items on this invitation task, and so it means there's 3 items and 0 are completed. And if I want, I can actually say show this on the card, which is a handy feature. So you get an option to show it here. It just makes it a little more visible about what's going on. And you get to do that on a per task basis, what you want to see. And you can actually check from here. So let's say, okay, I've got the graphic designer. That disappeared, and now it says I've got 1 of 3 completed, and maybe I've selected a printer, but I haven't got the final approval from the CEO. Okay. Any quick questions while we're going along here? I can pause and take a sip of water while you guys... Everyone hearing me okay? Feel free to chat. All right, we'll just keep going. So we've got the invite customers. Now let's say we also want to do, we want to get the food together here and the venue. So I'm going to say venue, okay, and we're going to start adding some tasks in here, and it might be finalize selection, sign contract, order decorations. You know, I don't know, I'm not a big party planner, but these are some things. Maybe hire entertainment. And you start to put those together, and you get to see how you can put some tasks around that. Now, one of the things you can do around these with, like, say, for example, hire entertainment, is not only can you add a checklist and have the comments, but you can actually add attachments to this. So it could be a link to something, could be a file that you want to upload, or it could be something in your SharePoint site. So let's say, you know, we want to hire U2's going to play. That's going to be awesome concert, and we want to make sure that we add that link here so people can see that. And I'm going to leave that show on card, close that down, and now you can see hire entertainment, and we've got a link to the U2 website. So right from here, I can click U2, and it's going to take me right to that link. So that could be, you know, it could be a map to the hotel. It could be, you know, whatever you think makes sense for links in there. And if you had documents like a budget spreadsheet, or if you were on the invitation and you wanted to put a link to the invitation here, you could actually do that. So if I go in and add an attachment, I want to say pick something from SharePoint. If you had your documents there listed, you'd be able to add one and add it so that the CEO would be able to just read it right from there. I didn't create any documents for that, but you could. So you can start to see how you can start to build out these buckets, which is nice, and you start to see what's happening here. And I want to say that yes, we've managed to hire U2, which is great. And so what we can do is we can open this up, and we can say, we can go to the progress. So it's not started, but it is in progress now because we've reached out to their management company. And you'll start to see now how this adds another icon here with a hover over link that says in progress. You can start to get a visual representation of what's happening with those tasks without having to go into each one. And when you're actually done with this, if you want, so if we've actually have U2 secured, we can click complete task, and now it's done, and it actually took it off the main task list, and it created a show completed list, and you've got it down here as crossed off your list, right? Nothing more satisfying on a checklist than to be able to cross something off. So we've got U2 secured. It is going to be an awesome party if you like U2. So that would be that. And again, you can start to see how you could add other buckets here for other things that you want want to see done, okay? And we're not going to put them all out there, but you can go pretty crazy with this. It'll keep adding more buckets to the right. You can have lots and lots of buckets. You can have lots of tasks underneath each one, and it's a great opportunity to create a basic plan for something like this. Now, as we're looking at this, we've got a few things I want to point up here. So this is going to show you all the members. If you had other members, you could add them here. You could put their name in and add a new member. Right now, we're grouping by bucket. So it's got the to-do bucket, the invite customers, the venue, and whatever other buckets we create. We could actually group it by who it's assigned to. So these are all unassigned, and this is the only one that's actually been assigned to somebody. You can group it by progress. So these ones are not started. These ones are in progress. These are completed. So maybe with the decorations, we've got that in progress. And now you can see it's in the in progress category. So it gives a nice way of kind of slicing and dicing your tasks depending on what kind of a project manager you are. You can jump in and see those things. You can go by due date. So you've got some, these are due this week. These have no due date, so it'll start to build out these locations for you, and you can start to see, okay, if you're the person in charge of this, what's going on this week? You can jump into the plan and see what you need to accomplish this week because you've got your due dates listed. We'll come back to labels, and we're going to go back to the bucket view. All right. So another thing that you've got with this, as far as if you're working on multiple plans, you can do what's called create a favorite. So you can hit the star next to the plan, and now you'll see it's in the favorites category. So there might be, depending on how you use this, you might have 5 or 10 different plans you're working on, or however that is, and you may have a lot of them there. You may have just a few that are really your favorites. Those are the hot ones you're working on, and so you can put that under the favorites. All right. What else do we want to show you here? So, once you start putting these things in, what's really nice about this, and can't show you this here, but if you install the Microsoft Planner app on your phone, so it works with iOS, it works with Android, or you install it on your iPad, or if you have like an Android tablet you use, you can load the Microsoft Planner app, and you can actually now see the plans on the app. So if you're out and about and you've got a checklist of things, let's say the sign the contract, and you've got a checklist of see attorney, make copies, whatever that's going to look like. When you're out and about, you can actually go into that venue bucket, grab that task, and see what those items are. And when you're done, you can actually check it off right from your phone. So it's really nice from a mobility perspective, whether you're out and about or whether you're just in your plant or around your office somewhere, you're in a meeting, something gets accomplished, you can set it up and everyone's got access to know that it's complete. Or if you've added something new, maybe you got a new idea. Oh, we've got the band, but we didn't order, we want to have a magician too. Oh, I have that idea, because maybe we've got some kids coming on instead and we want to have a magician. So you have a separate room with a magician. You could actually add that as another idea when you think about those things. All right, this is becoming a crazy party, magicians and you too. So we have the next thing I want to show you is now you've got these boards. What else can you do with this? How else can you get some views of how this is going to look? So the other aspect of this is to go into the charts section. Charts are nice because, again, it gives a nice overview. So if you have that status meeting with the CEO, or you've got the meeting with your team, or you just want to, for yourself as a project manager, you want to see what's happening, you can click on the charts tab and actually start to see what's happening. So you can see, okay, you've got one task assigned to Tobin demo. The rest of these are unassigned. You've got your tasks that are left, so you have 10 total tasks left, and you've got 9 that are not started, 1 in progress. None of them are late, thankfully, but if they were late, meaning past the due date, then you would see that here, and completed. And you also have a list by bucket. So it gives you a couple different ways to kind of slice and dice what's happening, and on the right side, you can then actually see those in a different view. So you can see all the to-do items, all the invite customers, all the venue items, and you can go and update these right from here. So that's really handy. Another thing you can do is once you've laid out your plan, maybe you actually want to schedule it, and instead of clicking on each one, you want to do it from a calendar. You can click schedule, and you can see on this calendar day, you can start to lay things out visually. So I've got select a date, create the team. If I want to order the decorations and put it over here, I can drag and drop that, and it'll have it on this calendar view. You can also go by week. So again, real handy, light project management for a variety of things. If I click a few other things that we have here, we're cruising along here pretty well. So if you want to go back to that conversation view of it to see what's happening, you can click that, and it's going to take you back into Outlook and take you right into that inbox where all the messages are going back and forth. So people can see that from there, and you can get a view across the whole project, not just by each task, but by the whole plan. If you want to go in and see all the files associated with this, you can click on that. And if you are a OneNote user, you actually have a notebook associated with this plan. So I don't know how many of you use OneNote. Oh, little glitch there. Okay, so I won't be showing you the notebook feature right there. But if you had a notebook associated with this, you would then actually see it right there. And if you use OneNote Notebook or you've looked at it, I would encourage you to take a look at OneNote. It's a great tool for organizing like a binder style organization with tabs across the top and tabs down the side. And once you get this plan set up, you can actually add the plan to your Outlook calendar so you can see it inside Outlook. Wow, we have just cruised right through this. Let me see if I've missed any major items here. Another nice feature, again, this kind of just depends on how you operate, but it's, when you look at the board view and you see your to-dos and buckets, and we can start to see more information that gets flagged here, right? So this is like an in progress, the due date, how many things are done, and all of that. But like this one says, we want to get a final approval from the CEO. And there might be some other things where we want to get approval from the CEO too. It might be the kind of thing like maybe even like finalizing the selection of the venue. Maybe that's something where we want the CEO to do that. And the CEO is maybe a busy person. Maybe they don't want to have to sit there and you have to tell them, go find the ones that need your approval. So what would be like an easy way to actually have the CEO find the things that they need to be able to see? And one way you can do that, and you can just pick any task, on the side you've got these labels. And you can create these labels to be whatever you want. So it could be CEO review, could be high priority. You can create these however you want them to be. You just hit enter and they're done. Now notice that's just where you go and edit them, but it didn't actually put anything in. So for this one, we had this invitation. We wanted the CEO to be able to find this one. So what I can do is I can click the ellipses, go to Label, and pick CEO Review, and now it add this little pink tab on there. And maybe the same thing for the final selection, CEO Review, and maybe the selecting a venue is a high priority thing. You can go in and create those tabs. So it's a real handy visual indicator, right? We kind of use those things when on contracts, the little post-it notes with the color to point things out. So now the CEO could just simply open up the planner and say, oh, look for the pink ones. Okay, great. Here's a pink one. Yep. Open it up. That attachment was there. I'd be able to click on that and say, yep, looks great. CEO, good job, everybody. Close that out. Same thing with finalized selection. Can go in here. Yep, venue looks great. Can even put a comment in. And when it's done, the CEO can just take the label off if they don't want to be on there anymore to remind them that they're done with that. Or maybe now it's the next step. So you have some other features from here. So if you have a task that is a common thing, maybe you set up a task with kind of like as a template with a number of features, a number of items in it. You can copy a task and have it, copy it over and over again, so you don't have to recreate the content of all the tasks. Because this is web-based, you actually can create links to everything too. So let's say I want to send an email to somebody to check out this invitation order, like something doesn't seem right with it. So I can say, copy a link to the task, and I can go into my email and if I right-click and I do a Control-V to paste that in, I now have a hard link to that task, and I can say something like, send it out to who it goes to, and they can just click on that and know exactly which task you're talking about within Planner. It'll take them right into the Planner. So that is a handy feature. Let me see if I've missed anything that looks critical here. I think I've hit all the various things. Here's a link to the plan overall, so you can send that to somebody. And we have that. One other thing, I just want to quickly verify, make sure Microsoft added this as the feature that I think it is. Another nice thing with the planner is the ability to work with guests, meaning someone who's not inside your Office 365 organization, but there's someone you need to work with. So maybe you've got an outside party planner person and you want to share some of this with them, or you want to share the invitation tasks with the printer. You can actually invite those people by adding them as a member, and you put their email address in, and if they're a guest, they'll actually be able to go in and mark some of these things as complete and see the status and some of that. They can't go in and create new plans, but they can go in and create to-dos and do things like that. So that's nice if you're working with an outside consultant of some sort. Let's see. I think, wow, we just went through that very quickly. It was a little bit, I hope I didn't speak too quickly. If I did, I will slow down next time. I think we've gone through all the major things. So yeah, this is if you have Planner, it's a great opportunity to go in and start playing around with it. Look for yourself where you guys can create some basic plans or more complex plans and share them with your team. Look for some projects where you've got it. I think you'll find it to be a really useful tool. You may find you're going to use this instead of some ways you might do sort of traditional light project management. You might create a big Excel spreadsheet or a Word document with a bunch of to-dos and people are sharing and updating the document. You could continue to do that. That's not a problem. But you could also try using Planner and or maybe kind of mix and match the two. Add your Excel spreadsheet with all your tasks here, but also start to use some of these other features and see what you get. Your mileage may vary, but I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with what it can do. And that is what I've got. So what are questions people have? I can unmute everybody if you've got questions. If you want to chat something, the floor is open. You're welcome. Saw some thank yous coming through in the chat. Anybody have an idea for how they want to use it in their organization? Can team members assign their own tasks? Yep, absolutely. Yep. So they can go in and they have, like I said, the permissions on the planner is pretty broad. So if they have access to the plan, they can go in and do just about everything I've done here. So they can go in and assign their own tasks, and they can reassign tasks to other people. You can have multiple people assigned to a task.
Jeremy, what in working with it at your organization, what have been the strengths and weaknesses as far as participants being consistent with, using this to update and communicate?
That's a great question. I think, we've just started using it. It's not like we're using it for everything exclusively, and we actually have some other project management tools that suit some of the work we do a little better. What I'm finding and what I like about it is just the easy mobility of it from the apps. So just be able to, if I'm one of those people, I have an idea for something, I just want to be able to kind of drop it in and kind of know someone else has it. So by using the app and adding that's been a great strength. Also the fact that it's just so integrated into Office 365 that there is you don't have to create a whole other set of accounts, documents you have, all of that are available, so it's very well integrated. I think the weaknesses are it's not as sophisticated as some of the other project management tools that are out there. And they continually keep adding new features, which is nice. But there's a few others out there that are maybe a little better suited for certain things that are a little more advanced. If we say that this is maybe like a 2.0 version of the product, there's some ones that have been around a few more years that might be version 3, version 4 with some additional features. But that's why I say your mileage may vary. I would definitely try it out and pick a small project and see how it goes for you. Someone's asking a funny question. Does it guarantee a U2 concert? I wish. That would be, boy, a lot more people would be using Planner if it guaranteed a U2
Ryan.
concert. Any other questions? All right, great. If anything comes up, feel free to contact me. We've got the, let me just put the screen up here. So thank you. You've got my contact information on the screen if you want to email me with any questions or you want to ask more about this or any other Office 365 products, let us know. We definitely can help. Microsoft is continually evolving with these, always adding new features and functions and integrations. And we look forward to future webinars with you and anything else we can assist with. So that's what I've got. Thank you so much for attending. Look for the customer feedback survey that'll be coming out on this, as well as how to get the slides and video once we have that worked out. And any feedback you have on this presentation, including the content, the pacing, how it went, personal feedback from me. I love it all. I take it all in. And if you have any ideas for other webinars you'd like to see, let us know about that too, because we love educating people on what's possible with their technology so they can have a better technology experience. So thank you all. Have an awesome day. Bye.